My friends, what is your primary question about God? If you could ask one question and be sure of an answer, what would you ask? Well, I think personally that I would ask, where is God? The Bible pictures God in a variety of ways and places. The creation story has him walking in the garden in the cool of the day. In the book of Exodus, God talked with Moses from the burning bush. Also, God met Moses on Mount Sinai. Isaiah saw God in the temple and came away from that encounter committed to a life of service as a prophet. Now, most of us are very familiar with these old stories from the Old Testament, but we have not met God personally, nor do we expect to meet him on top of Mount Sinai or in the burning bush. Least of all do we expect to see him in an ancient temple that no longer exists. So, where then is God? I think that our gospel reading sheds some light on the answer to that question. Jesus said, "If a person loves me, they will keep my word, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them." Where is God? Well, according to Jesus, he is right here with us, inside us. In fact, he is within us. Anytime we want to see God or communicate with God, the place to look for God is right here within our own hearts and minds. Now, this is the prevailing concept of God in the New Testament. The Apostle John says, "God is love, and the one who abides in love abides in God, and God in them." The Apostle Paul said it like this, "Do you not know that you are the temple of God, that the Spirit of God dwells in you?" Now, this concept of where God is really enriches all of life, but it is not all sweetness and light. Such is always the case, however, with good friendships and relationships. They require something of us. In Christian circles, we often speak of unconditional love. Now, that describes God's love for us. It also tells us how we are to love one another. Unconditional love is really a noble concept. But it doesn't mean that anything goes. It means that we want the best for another person, regardless of who they are or what they are. You love your children without condition, but that does not mean that you give your children whatever they want, and you let them do whatever they please. It often means the exact opposite. You and I can safely conclude that Jesus wants the best for us, his people. And this places certain restrictions on our friendship and our relationship with God. We cannot lead selfish lives and then stroll casually into the presence of the most unselfish man that ever lived. Is there someone who's watching today who's struggling with loneliness? My friend, you are really not alone in that struggle. Every one of us is really in the same boat. This is good to know and to understand. Human friendships and relationships certainly help. But the truly good news is this: God is within you. God lives in your heart and mind. So where is God? Well, he's out there in the future. He's up there in heaven. He's back there in history. But the next time you really want to see God and talk to God and communicate with God, look for him right here inside your own heart and inside your own mind. That is where God is.